Supreme War Marshal Zexthara stood before the massive viewing screen in his command chamber. The blue planet called Earth hung in the darkness of space like a small jewel. It should have been his by now. It should have been another easy victory for the hegemony, but it was not. The War Marshal's 6 arms moved nervously across the control panels. His purple skin had grown darker with stress over the past 3 Earth years. 3 years. The thought made his blood burn with anger. No world had ever resisted the hegemony for more than 72 standard cycles. Earth was supposed to fall in less than 3 days. A soft chime announced an incoming message. The holographic face of Sub-Commander Kral appeared before him. The younger alien's face showed fear and confusion. War Marshal, we have received the casualty reports from the Luna Sector battle. Zexthara felt his 4 hearts skip a beat. Show me. Numbers filled the air around him. Ship losses, troop casualties, equipment destroyed or missing. The War Marshal read the data twice, then 3 times. It could not be right. 15 dreadnoughts lost? He asked. How is this possible? The humans have no ships that can match our firepower. That is correct, War Marshal. They had no such ships 3 days ago. But the wreckage analysis shows they used our own plasma cannons against us. They have somehow made them more powerful. Zexthara felt sick. The humans were using hegemony weapons. Worse, they were making them better. This violated everything he knew about warfare. Primitive species did not improve superior technology. They simply could not understand it. How did they get our weapons? He demanded. Sub-Commander Kral looked even more uncomfortable. We believe they salvaged them from previous battles. Our intelligence suggests they can reverse engineer any technology they capture within days. Days? Zexthara's voice rose to a roar. It takes our best engineers months to understand new technology. Yes, War Marshal. We are studying this phenomenon. The humans appear to learn and adapt at rates we have never seen before. The War Marshal dismissed the sub-commander with a wave of his hand. He needed to think. He had conquered 47 worlds for the hegemony. He had never lost a single battle until Earth. What made these creatures so different? He called up the initial assessment reports from 3 years ago. Earth's dominant species, humans, lived in separate nations that fought each other constantly. Their technology was crude compared to hegemony standards. They had barely managed to leave their own planet. They should have been easy prey. Yet here they were, still fighting. Still winning. Another chime interrupted his thoughts. This time, it was his chief scientist, Dr. Vexkar. War Marshal, I have completed my analysis of human behavior patterns. The results are disturbing. Explain. Dr. Vexkar's tentacles writhed nervously. The humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. When we attack one of their settlements, the survivors do not flee. They study our methods. They learn from their defeats. Then they teach others what they have learned. All species learn from battle experience. Not like this, War Marshal. We have intercepted their communications. They share information freely between their different nations. Former enemies work together against us. They have somehow united their entire planet. Zexthara thought about this. The hegemony maintained control through strict hierarchy. Each species they conquered was kept separate from others. Information flowed downward from the ruling class. It was the natural order. Show me examples, he ordered. The holographic display changed to show intercepted human transmissions. Zexthara watched as human engineers in different locations shared weapon designs. He saw human soldiers teaching each other new tactics. Most shocking of all, he watched human leaders from different nations plan coordinated attacks. This is impossible, he whispered. How do they maintain order without proper command structure? We do not understand their methods either, War Marshal. But the results speak for themselves. They are becoming more dangerous with each battle. Zexthara studied the data for hours after Dr. Vexkar left. The pattern was clear and terrifying. Every time the hegemony forces won a battle, the humans learned something new. Every defeat taught them how to fight better. They were evolving their tactics in real time. He remembered the reports from the African continent. Hegemony ground forces had easily defeated human armies there 6 months ago. But the humans had captured several plasma rifles. Within weeks, they were producing their own versions. Somehow, they had made the weapons lighter and more accurate. The same thing happened with their vehicles. The humans captured a few hegemony fighters, and within days, they were building hybrid ships that combined alien technology with their own designs. These new ships were unpredictable. They moved in ways that confused hegemony pilots. A new message arrived. This one made Zexthara's blood turn cold. It was from Admiral Lexmore, commanding the siege fleet around Earth. War Marshal, the humans have launched a counterattack. They are using ships we have never seen before. Our sensors cannot track them properly. We are taking heavy losses. Zexthara activated the live feed from the battle. What he saw changed everything he thought he knew about warfare. Human ships move through space like living things. They twisted and turned in impossible patterns. When hegemony weapons fired at them, they seemed to know where the shots would go before they were fired. Several human vessels were attacking a hegemony cruiser with weapons that looked like hegemony plasma cannons but fired differently. The beams were brighter and seemed to cut through the cruiser's shields like they were not there. How are they doing this? He asked the empty room. As if in answer, his communication system activated. A human face appeared on his screen. The creature had brown skin and dark eyes. It wore some kind of military uniform Zexthara did not recognize. "This is General Chun of Earth Defense Command," the human said in perfect hegemony language. "We know you are watching this battle. We want you to understand something. Every weapon you use against us makes us stronger. Every tactic you try teaches us something new. You cannot defeat us because we become more like you with every day that passes. But you cannot become more like us." The transmission ended. Zexthara stared at the blank screen for a long time. For the first time in his long military career, the Supreme War Marshal felt something he had never experienced before. He felt afraid. Dr. Sarah Chen wiped grease from her hands as she stepped back from the modified plasma rifle. The weapon looked nothing like the original hegemony design anymore. Where the alien weapon had been bulky and slow to charge, Sarah's version was sleek and fired 3 times faster. "How's the power output?" asked Marcus Rodriguez, her engineering partner. Before the invasion, Marcus had been designing car engines in Detroit. Now he was one of Earth's best weapons specialists. Sarah checked the readings on her tablet. 40% more efficient than the original. And it uses half the energy. Marcus whistled in appreciation. "The aliens are going to love this." Sarah smiled grimly. Love was not the word she would use. The hegemony had made a critical mistake when they started this war. They assumed humans would fight the same way other species did. They thought humans would use alien technology, exactly as designed. They were wrong. The workshop around them buzzed with activity. 50 engineers from 12 different countries worked side by side. Russian scientists shared data with American technicians. Chinese programmers collaborated with German physicists. 3 years ago, many of these people had worked for governments that barely trusted each other. Now they shared everything. Dr. Chun called Yuki Tanaka from across the room. The Japanese engineer was working on captured hegemony communication devices. "I've cracked their encryption again. They changed it yesterday, but I found a new pattern." Sarah nodded. Yuki had become their expert on alien communication systems. She could break hegemony codes faster than the aliens could create them. It was another advantage the invaders had not expected. "What are they saying?" Sarah asked. Yuki's face darkened. "They're scared. Their commanders are calling for reinforcements from other star systems. They keep using a word that translates to contamination." "Contamination?" "I think they mean us. They think we're contaminating their technology somehow." Sarah understood. From the hegemony's perspective, humans were doing something impossible. They were taking advanced alien technology and making it better. In their rigid society, technology flowed from the top down. Lower species were not supposed to improve on the designs of their superiors. But humans had never followed that rule. The workshop's main door opened and General Harrison walked in. The former American military leader now commanded the European Resistance Network. Behind him walked Colonel Petrov, who had once been Sarah's enemy when Russia and America had been rivals. Now they were brothers in arms. "Dr. Chung," General Harrison said, "we need to discuss the next phase. Colonel Petrov has interesting news from the Moscow labs." Petrov stepped forward. His English had improved greatly over the past year. "We have successfully tested the new fighter design. Your plasma technology combined with our propulsion system works perfectly. The test pilot says it handles better than any human aircraft ever built." Sarah felt a surge of excitement. The fighter project was their most ambitious effort yet. They had taken hegemony engines, human computer systems, and Russian aviation expertise to create something entirely new. On paper, it should be able to outfly anything in the alien fleet. "How soon can we build more?" she asked. "Production begins tomorrow. We have factories in 6 countries ready to start. By next month, we will have 500 new fighters." General Harrison smiled. "The aliens won't know what hit them. They're still using the same ship designs they had when they arrived. They haven't adapted at all." This was the key difference Sarah had noticed. The hegemony treated their technology like religious doctrine. It could not be changed or improved. Humans saw technology as a tool to be modified for whatever job needed doing. "Dr. Chan," said a voice behind her. She turned to see Dr. Amari, an engineer from Nigeria who had been working on defensive systems. "I have completed the shield modification you requested. We can now stop hegemony plasma weapons completely." Sarah examined the data on Dr. Amari's tablet. The new shield design was brilliant. It used the aliens' own energy frequencies against them. When a hegemony weapon fired at the shield absorbed the energy and became stronger. "This is incredible work," Sarah said. "How did you think of this?" Dr. Amari smiled. "My daughter asked me a question. She said, 'Why don't we catch their bullets and throw them back?' Sometimes the simplest ideas are the best ones." A communication alert sounded throughout the workshop. Everyone stopped working and looked at the main screen. General Harrison activated the connection. The face that appeared belonged to Dr. James Park, a Korean-American physicist who now coordinated research efforts across the Pacific region. His expression was grim but determined. "Sarah Harrison, everyone," Dr. Park said. "We've just received confirmation from our deep space monitoring stations. The hegemony is bringing in their main battle fleet. Over 1,000 ships are heading toward Earth." The workshop fell silent. 1,000 ships was more than 3 times the force that had originally attacked Earth. "How long do we have?" Sarah asked. 6 weeks. Maybe 7. General Harrison straightened his shoulders. "Then, we have 6 weeks to finish what we started. Dr. Chun, how quickly can your team produce the new weapons?" Sarah looked around at her colleagues. These people had worked miracles for 3 years. They had turned Earth from a helpless target into a fortress. They had done it by doing something the hegemony could never understand. They had chosen to trust each other. "Give us the resources we need," she said. And we'll give you weapons that will make the aliens wish they had never heard of Earth. Dr. Amari laughed. My daughter has another idea. She says we should capture their big ships and make them better too. The room erupted in excited chatter. Engineers began sketching new designs on tablets and whiteboards. Someone mentioned combining hegemony hull materials with human computer systems. Another person suggested upgrading alien engines with Earth-based fuel systems. Sarah watched her teamwork and felt a familiar sense of wonder. 3 years ago, these people had been strangers from different nations with different languages and different goals. The alien invasion had forced them to work together. But what had kept them together was something more powerful than fear. It was the simple human belief that any problem could be solved if enough smart people worked on it. Together. Dr. Chun, Yuki called out. I'm intercepting more alien communications. They keep talking about something called Protocol 7. It sounds important. Sarah nodded. Whatever Protocol 7 was, they would figure it out. They always did. The aliens had taught humans many things over the past 3 years. They had taught them how to build better weapons, how to travel in space, and how to fight wars between star systems. But the most important thing the aliens had taught them was how to work as one species instead of many separate nations. The hegemony would soon learn that this lesson had consequences they never expected. Captain Maria Santos checked their fighter systems one final time. Everything showed green. The hybrid engines hummed with power that no human pilot had ever felt before. Her weapons were charged and ready. Around her, 49 other fighters waited for the attack signal. Phoenix Squadron, this is Control, came the voice in her headset. Enemy dreadnoughts are entering firing range. You are cleared to engage. Maria smiled inside her helmet. Phoenix Squadron, follow my lead. Remember your training. These ships are big, but they turn like sleeping elephants. Stay fast, stay smart, and stay alive. Her fighter shot forward into space. The massive hegemony fleet hung in front of her like a metal mountain range. Dozens of ships, each one larger than a city block. 3 years ago, the sight would have filled her with terror. Today, it just made her angry. The aliens had made a mistake coming back to Earth. Phoenix Leader, I have targets, called Lieutenant Kim, her wingman. Multiple interceptors launching from the lead dreadnought. Maria saw them too. Hegemony fighters moving in perfect formation, just like they always did. The aliens never learned. They flew the same patterns, used the same tactics, made the same mistakes. Humans have been studying those mistakes for 3 years. Phoenix Squadron, execute Delta Formation. Show them what we've learned. The human fighters spread out in a pattern that looked random but was carefully planned. When the alien interceptors fired their first shots, every human pilot was exactly where the aliens expected them not to be. The plasma bolts sailed harmlessly past. Phoenix 2, Fox 1. Kim announced as she fired her new missiles. The weapons were a hybrid of human and alien technology. They moved faster than hegemony missiles, but tracked targets better than human ones. The lead alien interceptor exploded in a ball of superheated gas. Nice shot, Kim. Phoenix Squadron, light them up. The battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. When it was over, 23 alien fighters had been destroyed. Phoenix Squadron had lost none, but the real fight was just beginning. Phoenix Leader, this is Admiral Chun aboard the battleship Unity, came a new voice. Admiral Chun was Dr. Sarah Chun's brother, promoted after the previous admiral was killed in the Battle of Mars. We're beginning the main assault. Your job is to keep their fighters off our backs. Maria looked toward Earth and saw an incredible sight. The human fleet was rising from the planet like a metal storm. Ships built in underground factories on 6 continents. vessels that combined the best of human engineering with captured alien technology. The flagship Unity was 5 times larger than any ship humanity had ever built before the war. Understood, Admiral. Phoenix Squadron will clear the way. The human fleet moved toward the hegemony ships with deadly purpose. Maria had seen this battle planned 100 times in the underground command centers. Every ship captain knew their role. Every fighter pilot had practiced their part. The aliens were about to learn what human coordination really meant. All Phoenix pilots, new targets incoming. Looks like they're sending everything they have. The space around Earth filled with alien fighters. Hundreds of them, moving in the same predictable formations they had used for 1,000 years. Maria almost felt sorry for them. Phoenix Squadron, break and attack. Remember, they can't adapt. We can. The human pilots scattered in 12 different directions. Each fighter moved independently, but they were all part of one larger plan. When alien ships tried to follow one human fighter, 2 others would attack from behind. When aliens grouped together for defense, the humans would attack from unexpected angles. It was like watching a dance where only one side knew the steps. Phoenix Leader. This is ground control, came another voice. We're tracking the battle from our global network. Resistance cells in 57 countries are coordinating support. You have backup coming from every direction. Maria felt a surge of pride. Down on Earth's surface, humans who had never met her were watching this battle and sending help. Scientists in laboratories were analyzing the alien ships in real time and transmitting weakness data to her fighter. Engineers in workshops were building replacement parts for her weapons. Children in schools were tracking the battle and cheering for her success. 3 years ago, most of these people had been citizens of different countries. Today, they were all citizens of Earth. Phoenix Leader. This is Captain Rodriguez aboard the destroyer Barcelona, came a Spanish accented voice. We have a problem. That big alien ship is charging some kind of super weapon. Maria looked toward the largest hegemony dreadnought. Energy was building around its main gun. The weapon looked like it could destroy an entire city with one shot. Ground control? Are you seeing this? Confirmed, Phoenix Leader. Analysis suggests it's a planetary bombardment weapon. But we have a surprise for them. Suddenly, space around the alien dreadnought filled with new ships. But these were not the sleek human fighters Maria knew. These ships looked different. Heavier, more powerful. Phoenix Leader, meet the Ghost Fleet, announced ground control. Built in secret asteroid bases using captured alien technology. Full human crews using alien weapon systems. Maria stared in amazement. The Ghost Fleet ships moved like alien vessels, but fought with human tactics. They surrounded the enemy dreadnought from all sides. When the aliens tried to target one ship, 3 others opened fire. When the dreadnought turned to face a new threat, the ships it had been fighting before attacked its weak spots. Incredible, she whispered. How many ships are in the Ghost Fleet? That's classified information, Phoenix Leader. But let's just say we've been very busy. The alien dreadnought's superweapon exploded before it could fire. The ship itself began breaking apart as human-built plasma cannons tore through its hull. Around it, other hegemony ships were trying to retreat, but human forces had surrounded the entire fleet. All units, this is Admiral Chun, came the voice from Unity. The enemy is attempting to withdraw. Do not let them escape. Today, we end their threat to Earth forever. What followed was not really a battle. It was a demonstration. 3 years of human learning, adaptation, and innovation were unleashed on an enemy that had not changed at all. Alien ships exploded one after another. The few that tried to escape found human forces waiting for them at every jump point. Phoenix Leader, this is ground control. We're receiving surrender signals from 12 enemy ships. What are your orders? Maria thought about all the humans who had died in 3 years of war. She thought about the cities that had been destroyed and the families that had been separated. Then she thought about something Dr. Chun had said in a speech 6 months ago. We fight not to become like them, but to show them how to be better. Accept their surrender, she said. Take their crews prisoner, but treat them well. Maybe it's time someone taught the hegemony how to lose with dignity. As Phoenix Squadron escorted the damaged human ships back toward Earth, Maria looked at the wreckage floating in space. Most of it belonged to alien vessels. For the first time since the war began, a major hegemony fleet had been completely destroyed. But the real victory was not the destroyed ships. The real victory was what humanity had become. 3 years ago, they had been a divided species barely capable of reaching their own moon. Today, they had built a space navy that could defeat the greatest military force in the galaxy. Phoenix Leader, this is ground control. We're getting reports from our deep space monitors. It looks like other hegemony fleets are changing course away from Earth. Word of this battle is spreading. Maria smiled. The aliens were running away. For the first time in their history, the mighty hegemony was retreating from an enemy. But Maria suspected this victory was just the beginning. Humans had learned to fight in space. They had learned to build weapons that could match alien technology. Most importantly, they had learned to work together as one species. Now it was time to teach the rest of the galaxy what that meant. Supreme War Marshal Zexthara stood before the Hegemony High Council with his head bowed in shame. Around him, the most powerful beings in the galaxy waited for his explanation. 3,000 years of conquest, and now this. War Marshal, spoke Elder Kexvara. Her ancient voice filled with cold anger. Explain to this council how a primitive species has destroyed 17 of our fleets. Zexthara raised his eyes to meet hers. The humans are not primitive, Elder. We made an error in our initial assessment. An error? Elder Taishalan's tentacles writhed with rage. We have lost more ships in 3 years fighting humans than we lost in the previous century of conquest. This is not an error. This is incompetence. The War Marshal felt his 4 hearts beating faster. Around the circular chamber, holographic displays showed the extent of the disaster. Red markers indicated lost fleets. Yellow markers showed retreating forces. Green markers, which should have shown successful occupations, were almost gone. The humans adapt faster than any species we have encountered, Zexthara explained. They do not simply use our technology. They improve it. They combine it with their own designs in ways that violate our understanding of engineering principles. Elder Vexthal leaned forward. You are telling us that these creatures understand our technology better than we do. In some cases, yes. They have created weapons using our own plasma technology that are 40% more efficient than our originals. Their ships combine our engines with their computer systems to create vessels that outperform our own designs. The council chamber fell silent. In 3,000 years of hegemony expansion, no conquered species had ever improved upon hegemony technology. The very idea was considered impossible. There's worse news, Zexthara continued. Our intelligence reports indicate the humans have established colonies in other star systems. They are using captured hegemony ships to transport their people and equipment. They are spreading. Elder Kexvara's face turned darker. How many systems? 7 confirmed. Possibly more. The silence that followed was deafening. A species that had never left its home planet was now spreading across the galaxy using stolen hegemony technology. It was the Council's worst nightmare. War Marshal, Elder Taishalan spoke slowly. You will authorize the use of planet-killer weapons. Destroy their home world and end this threat before it spreads further. Zexthara had expected this order. Planet killers were the hegemony's ultimate weapons. Massive dreadnoughts capable of cracking a world in half. They had never failed to end resistance. "I will dispatch the 7th Fleet immediately," he replied. 5 planet-killer dreadnoughts should be sufficient. "Take no chances," Elder Vexthal commanded. "Use the entire arsenal. Every planet-killer we possess. This threat must be eliminated completely." 6 hours later, Zexthara watched from his command ship as the largest fleet in hegemony history moved toward the human home system. 23 planet-killer dreadnoughts, each one capable of destroying a world. Supporting them were 300 heavy cruisers and over 1,000 smaller vessels. No force in the galaxy could stand against such power. "War Marshal," reported Subcommander Crow. "We are approaching the human system. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple contacts. Show me." The tactical display filled with symbols. Zexthara counted the human ships defending their world. There were many more than intelligence had predicted, but they were still vastly outnumbered. "Prepare to engage," he ordered. "Target the largest human ships first. Once we break their main force, the planet killers can begin their work." "War Marshal," Kral's voice was uncertain. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from some of the human vessels. They appear to be using weapons similar to our planet-killer cannons." Zexthara felt ice form in his veins. "That's impossible. Those weapons require technology that takes centuries to develop." "I'm confirming the reading, sir. Multiple human ships are showing planet-killer weapon signatures." Before Zexthara could respond, every communication channel on his ship activated at once. A human face appeared on all the screens. The creature had dark skin and wore a military uniform Zexthara had learned to recognize. "I am Admiral James Park of the Human Space Force," the figure announced in perfect hegemony language. "I have a message for whoever commands your fleet." Zexthara found his voice. "This is Supreme War Marshal Zexthara of the hegemony. You will surrender immediately or face total destruction." Admiral Park smiled, and the expression sent chills through the War Marshal's body. It was not the smile of a creature facing defeat. It was the smile of a predator that had found prey. "3 years ago, you came to our world thinking we were helpless," Admiral Park said. "You taught us how to build starships. You taught us how to make plasma weapons. You taught us how to travel between the stars. Most importantly, you taught us how to build planet killers." The human's image was replaced by tactical data. Zexthara stared at the information in growing horror. The human ships were not just using planet-killer weapons. They had improved them. The energy readings showed weapons that were smaller, faster, and more powerful than anything the hegemony possessed. "How?" Zexthara whispered. Admiral Park's image returned. "You never learned the most important thing about humans, War Marshal. We don't just survive. We adapt. We improve. We become better than what we were before. And now we're coming for your worlds." The communication ended. Around Zexthara's ship, space erupted in battle. But this was not the one-sided destruction he had expected. Human ships moved with impossible speed and coordination. Their weapons cut through hegemony shields like they were made of paper. Within minutes, 3 planet-killer dreadnoughts were destroyed. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were hunting the most powerful ships in the hegemony fleet. "War Marshal," Crow reported, his voice shaking. "We're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human fleets are attacking our colony worlds. They're using our own planet-killer technology against our cities." Zexthara watched his fleet die around him. Ship after ship disappeared in brilliant explosions. The humans fought with tactics he could not predict and weapons he could not match. Worse, they were doing to the hegemony what the hegemony had done to so many other species. They were conquering. "War Marshal," came a transmission from the planet-killer Devastator. "Human ships are targeting our core. We're losing containment in the primary weapon system. Zexthara saw the massive dreadnought begin to break apart. Around it, human fighters swarmed like angry insects, their weapons precisely targeting critical systems. These were not random attacks. The humans knew exactly how hegemony ships were built and where they were weakest. All ships, he commanded. Emergency jump to hyperspace. Full retreat. War Marshal, Crow replied. The humans have disrupted our jump drives. We cannot escape. For the first time in 3,000 years of hegemony expansion, a fleet was trapped by an enemy force. Zexthara watched his tactical display as more ships died. Red symbols vanished one by one as human forces systematically destroyed the most powerful fleet ever assembled. Sir, a young officer called from the communication station. We're receiving surrender demands from 17 different human commanders. They say they want to discuss terms. Zexthara looked around his command bridge. Half his officers were dead. Emergency lights flashed red warnings throughout the ship. In the distance, he could see human ships approaching his position. He thought about 3,000 years of hegemony dominance. He thought about the 47 worlds he had personally conquered. He thought about the countless species that had knelt before hegemony power. All of it was ending. Open a channel to all remaining hegemony forces, he commanded. When the communication was ready, Zexthara spoke the words that would change galactic history forever. This is Supreme War Marshal Zexthara to all hegemony vessels. The human threat must be stopped at all costs. Deploy every weapon, use every ship, sacrifice everything we have. Destroy all humans at once. Every ship, every weapon, everything we have. This is my final command. But even as he spoke the words, Zexthara knew it was too late. The humans had learned too much, adapted too quickly, spread too far. The hegemony's time as the dominant power in the galaxy was over, and the age of humanity had begun. The battle for Earth's solar system lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the wreckage of the greatest fleet in galactic history drifted silent in space. Of 23 planet-killer dreadnoughts, none remained operational. Of the 1,000 support vessels, fewer than 50 had survived to surrender. Supreme War Marshal Zexthara sat in a human detention cell aboard the battleship Unity. The cell was larger and more comfortable than he had expected. The humans had provided him with food that was safe for his species and medical care for his injuries. They had even allowed him to keep his rank insignia. It was not how the hegemony treated prisoners. The cell door opened and Admiral James Park entered. The human commander looked tired but satisfied. Behind him walked a woman Zexthara recognized as Dr. Sarah Chun, the engineer whose weapons had helped destroy so many hegemony fleets. War Marshal, Admiral Park said, taking a seat across from him. We need to talk. Zexthara studied the human's face. 3 years of war had changed Admiral Park. He was harder now, more confident. But there was something else in his eyes that the War Marshal had not expected to see. Compassion. You have won, Zexthara said simply. The hegemony fleet is destroyed. My homeworld has surrendered. What more do you want from me? Dr. Chun leaned forward. We want to understand why this war happened. We want to know how to prevent it from happening again. You are the victors. You can do whatever you wish with the conquered territories. That is the law of the galaxy. Admiral Park shook his head. That's not how we do things. We don't want to conquer the hegemony. We want to change it. Zexthara felt confusion wash over him. In 3,000 years of galactic history, victorious species always conquered the defeated. It was the natural order. The strong ruled the weak. I do not understand, he admitted. Dr. Chun activated a tablet and showed him data displays. This is what we discovered when we analyzed hegemony territories. 17 different species, all kept separate, all forbidden from sharing technology or culture. Your empire is held together by fear and isolation. That is how empires function, Zexthara replied. Unity through hierarchy. Order through control. But it doesn't work, Admiral Park said. Your own records show constant rebellions, economic inefficiencies, and technological stagnation. The hegemony has not developed any truly new technology in over 500 years. Zexthara thought about this. It was true that hegemony science had advanced slowly in recent centuries. But that was normal. Advanced civilizations naturally became more stable and conservative. Look at what humans accomplished in just 3 years, Dr. Chun continued. We went from a single planet to a multi-system civilization. We developed new weapons, new ships, new ways of organizing society. We did it because we shared everything with everyone. That is chaos, Zexthara protested. Without proper hierarchy, how do you maintain order? Admiral Park smiled. Let me show you. The tablet screen changed to show live images from across human space. Zexthara saw engineering teams with members from 12 different species working together. He saw former hegemony slaves teaching human children their native languages. He saw humans and aliens building new cities on colony worlds. These are the hegemony species that have joined us, Dr. Chen explained. The Vexti are excellent engineers. The Kralshan are natural pilots. The Taisi have mathematical abilities we never imagined. Each species brings something unique to the Alliance. But how do you prevent them from fighting each other? How do you maintain control? We don't control them, Admiral Park said. We work with them. Every species that joins the Alliance keeps their own government, their own culture, their own traditions. But they also share their knowledge and help defend each other. Zexthara studied the images on the tablet. What he saw challenged everything he believed about civilization. Different species working together as equals. No hierarchy, no domination, no fear. Just cooperation. This cannot last, he said. Without a strong central authority, the Alliance will collapse into civil war. Dr. Chun laughed. That's what everyone said about human civilization. We had hundreds of separate nations that fought constantly. But when we faced a common threat, we learned to work together. Now we're teaching that lesson to the galaxy. The tablet showed more images. Human ships delivering medical supplies to former hegemony worlds. Multi-species engineering teams building new infrastructure. Children from a dozen different species playing together in schools. The Galactic Council has asked me to offer you a choice, Admiral Park said. You can remain a prisoner, or you can help us build something better. What do you mean? Dr. Chun answered. We need someone who understands how the old hegemony worked. Someone who can help us transition the remaining territories to the new system. Someone who can teach us about the species we haven't met yet. Zexthara stared at her. You want me to help you destroy everything I spent my life building? We want you to help us build something better, Admiral Park corrected. Something that doesn't require conquest and fear to maintain order. The War Marshal thought about his long career. 47 worlds conquered. Millions of beings enslaved. Countless species forced to abandon their own cultures and technologies. He had believed he was bringing order to the galaxy. But what if he had been wrong? What would my role be? He asked quietly. Advisor to the Transition Council, Dr. Chun replied. Help us understand the needs of different species. Help us design systems that work for everyone instead of just the dominant power. Zexthara looked around his comfortable cell. The humans could have executed him. They could have tortured him for information. They could have treated him the way the hegemony treated defeated enemies. Instead, they were offering him a chance to be part of something new. I will consider your offer, he said. 6 months later, Zexthara stood in the council chamber of the new Galactic Alliance headquarters. Around him, Representatives from 43 different species debated the latest expansion proposals. 3 former hegemony colonies had requested membership in the alliance. 2 previously unknown species had made first contact and asked to establish trade relations. "Advisor Zexthara," said Councillor Martinez. "The human representative, what is your assessment of the Veltar request for membership?" Zexthara studied the data on his tablet. The Veltar were a peaceful species that had been enslaved by the hegemony for 2 centuries. They were excellent farmers and had developed sustainable agriculture techniques that could benefit many worlds. "The Veltar would be valuable members of the alliance," he replied. "Their agricultural expertise could help solve food shortages on 17 colony worlds. I recommend full membership." Councillor Tvek, a former hegemony scientist, nodded in agreement. The Veltar have also expressed interest in sharing their biotechnology research. This could advance our medical capabilities significantly. Zexthara watched the discussion continue. Representatives from different species shared information, asked questions, and worked together to find solutions. No one commanded anyone else. No one threatened punishment for disagreement. It was the opposite of everything the hegemony had stood for. And it worked better than any system Zexthara had ever seen. "Advisor," said Dr. Chun, who now served as the Alliance's Chief Technology Coordinator. "We've received a distress signal from the Outer Rim. An unknown aggressive species is attacking shipping lanes. What do you recommend?" In the old days, the hegemony would have sent a battle fleet to destroy the attackers. "Conquest first, questions later. Send a diplomatic mission," Zexthara said. "Include representatives from species that have faced similar challenges. Offer them the chance to join the alliance peacefully. Use force only if they refuse to negotiate." Dr. Chun smiled. "Agreed. I'll coordinate with the diplomatic corps." As the council session ended, Zexthara remained in his seat. Through the chamber's vast windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species docked at the station. Humans, hegemony survivors, former slaves, and new allies all working together. Admiral Park approached and sat beside him. "Regrets?" the human asked. Zexthara considered the question. He had spent 3,000 years believing that strength meant domination. That order required hierarchy. That peace could only exist through fear. The humans had proven him wrong about everything. "No regrets," he said finally. "The old hegemony was built on conquest. This alliance is built on something much stronger." "What's that?" Zexthara looked at the ships outside the window. Each one represented a different species, a different culture, a different way of seeing the universe. But they all worked together toward common goals. "Hope," he said. "The old system was based on fear of losing power. This system is based on hope of achieving something better." Admiral Park nodded. "That's the real difference between humans and the hegemony. We don't fear change. We create it." As Zexthara watched, a new ship approached the station. It was a design he had never seen before, probably representing first contact with another species. In the old days, that would have meant preparation for conquest. Today, it meant preparation for friendship. The former war marshal smiled and began preparing his recommendations for welcoming the galaxy's newest potential allies. He had learned the most important lesson humanity had to teach: that true strength came not from the power to destroy enemies,